four elements of which our body consists. How does their balance affect us and our state of mind, our behavior, and our life? That's what this video is going to be about. So these four elements, as you probably already know, earth, water, air, and fire. These four elements are equally represented in the body and in the consciousness. And their functioning, both in body and consciousness, are directly connected. And let's start from the body to try to first understand how it operates on the physical level, and then connect it to the consciousness level. So, on the level of the body, first element that we start with is element of earth. Earth is basically the structure of the body, structure of the physical form. The element of earth is what gives us shape and allows us to keep it stable, more or less. It's basically a crystalline structure, carbon-based, crystal grid of which builds up every tissue that we have in the physical body. So every tissue that we have, starting from bones, muscles, skin, nails, teeth, whatever else, all the organs, all the tissues in the body. Each of these tissues has a grid, some sort of grid in its structure. So the structure of each tissue is a grid of some sort, which is composed by a specific number of elements. But the major one, the most important one, is carbon. So basically, we are carbon-based crystallic. We're carbon crystals. And if we look at our laptops and phones, those are silicon-based machines, and we are carbon-based machines. There's a silicon crystal. Here, at the basis, is a carbon crystal. So this carbon is a part of each tissue that we have in the physical structure. So what do we do with that? So basically, the element on the physical level, the element of earth, is what gives us form, stable form, shape, which doesn't change in time like too much, like stays kind of stable. But in order for this crystal to operate properly, it should be maintained in the most effective state, let's say. And that would be, the best way to explain it, if we take an example of like your garden, for example, the earth in your garden, the earth element would be represented by earth. And if you want to plant something and receive some good crops, you have to follow certain conditions. And those would be, the earth should be warm enough, like it shouldn't be frozen. And there should be an element of air in it also. There should be an element of water to it, and sufficient amount of water. If there is not enough water, your garden will be a desert. If there's too much water, it's going to be a swamp. We don't want this or that. We want the middle. The balanced earth is earth which has equal and exact specific required amount of water, warmth, as let's say fire element or sun energy, and the element of air, which is like the temperature of the, it shouldn't be too windy, and too much cold wind would cause the earth to freeze, which again will not give the result we want. So altogether, the conditions for the garden, we can pretty much imagine. The most effective state of a garden is when it is in specific state, as I described. So the same thing applies to this form, this earth that we have here. It is the most effective when it is not too rigid, being like if this carbon crystal becomes too dry and too rigid and too stiff, we will break and fall apart very easily. That's not very effective for a living organism. That would be effective if we would be a rock. We would be a really good rock if we would just be rigid and stiff. But that was not our plan, so we don't want too much stiffness, hardness we don't want, and we don't want too little of it, because then we would just be sand, like crystal, like a structure where the particles are not aligned and not keeping form. Just like any air just blows that shape away. So like with every wind, you would just be falling apart. You don't want your earth element to be in shape of sand, desert sand. You don't want it to be in the shape of rock, which makes you hard and stiff, rigid, unable to move. That's what some people become by the end of their life, because the element of earth gets more and more and more dense and rigid. And so that's for the earth element you're getting. I hope you're slowly getting how it all supposed to work. So on the level of the body, it's clear, like easy to understand, that the earth element of the body, all the structures, all the crystalline grids in the body are the most effective when they are strong but flexible. Not too rigid, not too soft, and not fluid. We don't want this crystal to flow. And so that's the most effective form for the crystal that we are operating in right now. And for on the level of the physical body, it's clear how it probably operates, if we just by the analogy with the earth in the garden. On the level of consciousness, it is working exactly in the same way. So if your body is stiff, so will be your emotional body. So if your physical body is rigid, your emotional body will be rigid as well, and your mental body will be rigid as well. That element is represented equally on all levels. So if you're shapeless, like you can't keep form physically, or like like almost fluid, shapeless, and losing your form all the time physically, I don't know, fluid people, maybe they exist, I don't know. So on the physical level, if you cannot hold your shape strong and stable, then on the emotional level you probably also will be shapeless, and on the mental level you will also be shapeless. Shapeless meaning more of element of water in you. So your earth has already become swamp. So it's like earth still, but it's already flowing, fluid kind of. So in that case, there is like too much water in your earth. Then that makes you shapeless. You probably all have seen emotionally shapeless or mentally shapeless people who take a form of whatever thing they're interacting with. They interact with you, they become like you. They interact with another friend, they take that form. They're like they don't keep their own stable form all the time. They take the form of the vessel that is near. If it's a glass, they become, so it means that there's too much water in their structure. Emotional, mental, physically maybe it's not that easy to observe that they're also probably not very stiff and not very rigid. So you've seen all those people who are fluid and unable to keep one form, stable shape in the mentality or in the emotional sphere. So that's the element of water. Now we're going to the second element. And I want you to imagine them right away from the beginning, to imagine them on a cross. There, it's like I'll draw a cross like this, and imagine all these, like these two crossing lines, and all these four lines of the cross, all four ends, are vectors, arrows. So arrow going up this way, down, and four arrows. At the end of, so each of these directions is an element, and you are in the center. I don't have a third arm to show that the center is here, but I guess you can guess. In the center of this cross is where you as consciousness are landed, located. And these four are the directions in which elements are pulling you, stretching you out. The bottom arrow is the earth element. It's pulling you down into the ground. What is this direction? Left. Left. I'm showing on the screen, so I'm looking. Actually, it is from my side. It would be right. Okay, right. The right direction is the element of water. So I think then in this, because it reflects, shows me opposite. We're going counterclockwise here. So from Earth, we go to water. That's the second arrow, and that's pulling you to the right. And that is your sensitivity. That is your emotional body mostly, and your sensitivity to physical sensations as well as emotional and mental sensations. What gives you that sensation? That water element in the physical body is represented by all the liquids that exist in your body, including blood, lymph, saliva, whatever, all the liquids that are there. These liquids, they in the body, they serve as mediums for the electrical signal to pass through the crystal, because the crystal itself is not a very good conductor. If there's no water in you, you will probably not pass electrical signals or nerve signals very well, because like you need that medium inside of you for the electrical signals to move through your body, from arms, legs into the brain and back into organs. And for all this connectivity, you need an element of water in you in a specific amount. When there's too much water in your body, the system will overflow. So the signals, electrical signals that you're collecting and sending through the body, they will start like, how do you say, a lot of error begins to occur, because like those electrical signals, they start to mix with each other. There's too much water. There's like little sparks everywhere, and the information is not transferred properly. Like for proper transfer of information from between the cells and parts of organism, there should be a specific amount of water in this crystal. When too much, it starts creating like like making errors in the system when overloaded. When there's not enough water, if the crystal is too dry, then the signals are not even passing. There's like you receive a signal, it's not moving, it's not going anywhere, it's not coming from, it's supposed to come from that organ to the brain to tell the brain that that organ needs some additional help, and that signal is just not going because there's not enough medium in the body, in the system, in the crystal. So we're supposed to keep that stable amount of water. That's why I should drink. It's water, by the way. I already answered for those who were asking, but it's not a magical tea. But so we are supposed to keep that level of liquid in the body good and stable. It's like watering the crops in the garden. If you don't water them enough, like process is not gonna work well. If you water them too much, also you're not gonna get the result you want, unless you're planting rice. So water element is sensitivity, medium in the body. And in English, in fact, the word medium also refers to people who are very sensitive and are like transferring information in between realms and so on. So that medium is like that word medium for a person means that that person has a lot of water element in them. They're like, and they mastered this element. So they're not overflowing with that water. They hold a lot of water and they're fine. They're like, I have more water than ordinary person, and I'm like, my body can handle it. I'm working well, and like the all those error signals are not generated. Like my brain is not doing like, you got it. So that's what it means to be a medium, to control your water and hold a lot of it and control it. You've probably seen people who have too much water and are unable to control it. Those are people who are unable to handle their emotions. Probably those people who cry at any possible chance, like everywhere, all the time, anything you say, you do, or you watch some movie or something and they just cry all the time, cry. It's the body trying to get rid of the extra water. So like next time you feel like crying, don't make a tragedy out of it. It's just your body trying to remove excess liquid from the system, because it says like you cannot hold that much water. Like a medium could hold. If you were a medium, you would have a lot of water in your body and you will feel good. You cannot handle so much feeling. You cannot handle so much emotion. Like that's why your body is trying to just get rid of the too much water and decrease your sensitivity, decrease your emotional sensitivity, basically. All right, you got it. So that's the too much water example. And when there is not enough water, like when the body is too dry, those people are usually like numb. They're like not emotional at all. You try to get some emotional reaction from them and they're like unable to produce that. They're like no, nothing can shake their, and they're not very sensitive. Like they don't sense those slight tiny changes in your mood, in your behavior. They're not sensitive to those little things. Oh, that's a popular word right now on the internet, empath. So that's like a side effect of water, having a lot of water in your system, and being unable, like those who are suffering from being empath, when they describe, it's the same thing as medium. There, somebody is suffering from being a medium, somebody is suffering from being empath. But if you master that element of water, you're able to hold a lot of water. If you understand how it works, you hold it all and you don't suffer from it, you can benefit, because water brings information. That is information. Like every emotion is information, just in a dense form, more than just thought, a little bit more compressed than thought, but not as compressed as earth, as crystal, as DNA. Not, that's the most compressed level, DNA, earth. Water is a little bit more fluid, more open, easier to read. Most of you probably can read emotions, and probably not everyone can read DNA. But emotions, we can. And the next level of information would be energy, and then thought. And those ones usually you also probably can read if you're listening to this kind of stuff. So that's the earth, the water, the second one. So when we go to the third arrow pointing up, it's opposite from earth. So we have this one line, which is the bottom is showing to earth, the up arrow up is going to showing the fire element. And that fire is the nervous impulse, nerve impulse in the body. That's basically the electrical impulse in the body. That's the fire element. On the physical level, that's out of forms, if that would be earth, like structure. Second one is water. Earth, fire is plasma or electricity, or fire in sense of any kind of fire that you can feel in a physical body. So like digestive fire, sexual fire, like the fire of emotion when you get angry or when you get like frustrated or something. If you measure the temperature of your body, your temperature increases a bit. So that's the fire that your body is generating because of the pressure of the emotion or situation or whatever. And so by that logic, again, in the body, if there is not enough fire, there's like not enough electrical impulses running, so the body is slowly dying because like it's turning into a stone, like a rock or a carbon piece of carbon, because like no, even if it's wet carbon, still like if there is no electrical impulse generated or given to it, it's not alive. It's just wet crystal. So if there is no electricity, life is not going to happen. And if there's too much fire in your body, that can burn the system, because fire is the how do you say, like if on terms of a laptop or a phone, there is a certain level of electricity, like certain how you say voltage, that this device is designed for, and that specific voltage is that's what it operates with. If you give less, it doesn't work. If you give more, it probably burns. So that's the fire element in you. And because we don't have electrical cables attached to us to give that electricity to us, we work in a magical way. We work as generators of our own electricity, like a piezoelectric crystal. And in that piezoelectric, weird word, in that piezoelectric element, which consists of, which is a crystal, and it generates electricity when pressure is applied. So that's this line in the cross. This line is interaction of crystal with pressure and electricity being generated as a result of it. That's why some of you like to be pushed and hurt. And somebody asked the question about sadomasochism and being a victim and all that. Why do people do it? Because subconsciously, we all know that we generate electricity the best when there is a pressure applied. And if you don't know how to apply pressure to yourself, if you don't know how to generate the electricity, like if you don't know how to press on your own crystal all by yourself, if you don't know how to do it, you'll go to other people and you'll say, push me, press on me, hit me. And that, because you know that generates energy. That's how you're like, that's a cheat code, how you can awaken your kundalini, by asking everyone to hit you and push on you. Because you're a crystal, and if you're pushed well enough, you will generate a very big impulse, and that impulse can be enough to expand and to awaken kundalini and to rise kundalini, whatever terms you want to use. Basically expand the size of who you are. And the cheat code for doing that cheat way is to provoke other people to press on you, push on you. And normal human way to do it is to be able to put pressure on yourself. Because when you, like that pressure in a not very advanced state of consciousness, that pressure is generated by emotion. So you trigger, you make others angry, so that you trigger them, so that they come and trigger you so well, and with that emotional triggering, they have to do or say something that provokes that maximum pressure of emotional tension, and as a result you explode and you create a spark. That's what you want. You want to be a spark. But you're a crystal and you want to create a spark. I hope you're getting this logic. So that's three elements. So examples, like how does this look in people when element is of fire? Is there's like, if there's too much fire, like person is always on fire. He's on fire, angry or aggressive or with very high ambition, or like that's fire, that like movement, that fire, and that unstoppable character who just keeps generating and annoying people. That is the fire element in you. But the negative side effect of fire is that fire does not know limits. Earth is limits. Earth is a grid. Earth is a structure. Earth is a crystal. It is all about limits. Earth. But fire, if you set something on fire, it's not like it's gonna be unstoppable. It's like it jumps. It's not gonna like just burn one tree and stop. Like, okay, I'm done. No, it will burn everything that it can possibly reach. It will try to reach as many trees and bushes and grass and everything, and it will try to eat everything it touches. So that's the nature of fire. It is unstoppable. It is, how you say, that appetite and the hunger of the fire. By the idea, just imagine a forest fire, for example. You know, the more it burns, the more it burns. The bigger it becomes. The more hungry it becomes. The bigger it is. You got it. So that's the side effect of fire. Like if you are unable to stop yourself and put yourself in some kind of grid by yourself, once you trigger and you open up that fire in you, it's gonna burn everything in you. And some examples of the direct messages that I was getting about such occasions when you get angry and things around you just start breaking, exploding, car accidents, phones, pieces of equipment, light bulbs explode. All that is a side effect of you being able to generate a lot of fire, but being unable to control it. So you have the potential to generate a lot, but you have no idea how to control it. That's why humans are so dangerous for the cosmos and not so welcome on other planets, because we are dangerous. If we get scared, we can just make the whole planet explode if we get scared well enough. Because that ability to generate energy is pretty much infinite in a human. Like, you have infinite ability to get so scared, and the more scared you get, the more electricity you can generate. So potentially you can create like an atomic explosion. And nobody wants us in this shape anywhere else in the cosmos, because we are dangerous. So we're supposed to first learn how to, like, okay, we're very powerful generators, but let's learn how to control it, to generate in a soft, controllable way, so that it's electricity which can be used for good things, not just suddenly being triggered by an emotion and having everything around you just burn and explode. That's instability of the fire element in your consciousness. All right. In the body, it will probably, at the moment when you're angry, probably your temperature will just rise a little bit. Maybe you'll get some burn, like acid or something in your stomach, or like those little things on the body. They're like, okay, survivable. But if you're really powerful on the energetic level, you can really create damage if you have the power but yet unable to control it. And what was there in my mind? Okay, so that's the basic logic. I hope you got it. Fire is life, is the source of life. It's our spark. We need to learn how to create fire in a soft way so that it becomes light. It becomes good things, energy. That happens when we learn to balance these four elements, and instead of going too far out of balance into fire, or like losing the center and just going all into fire, or going all into earth, or going all into water and just losing ourselves in that. That's what we're doing while we are still learning. But once we get enough experience, we can analyze and see, okay, yeah, I was too watery in that relationship. I lost my shape. I just took the shape of my partner and I forgot who I was before. Who am I? I just became, I took the shape of my partner, for example. That's too much water. And then that emotionality and all that, then for some reason partner wants to leave because he feels like he's sitting in a swamp. Because you're shapeless and you're crying all the time. So you get the logic. When you are like things are exploding around you, or there's conflicts around you all the time, or your conversations are mostly arguments, and you get it. That's fire you're generating and unable to use it for in a constructive manner. So last element is air, and that in the body is represented by basically by the air we breathe and all the rest of the gases that we have inside the body. And those are like the last element, which is required for life to exist in the body. For the fire to be able to exist in the crystal, like fire, to connect with the crystal. So crystal is the part of the planet. Crystal, if there is no spark in it, your body, your earth, your crystal is just part of the earth. It's just earth. Unless there's a spark. Spark is the soul. Spark is the consciousness. That's the fire element coming from up, coming down, and the earth element coming from down, up, and they're meeting in this at the center, and that's where life appears. So the soul is the spark, but without the physical form, it's just going to be just a spark, like no form, no shape, like no structure, nothing, just a spark. So form without spark is earth. Crystal without spark is just part of the ground. And opposite, the ground without the spark, spark without the ground is just, I'm getting tired, I think, already. Fourth video for today. And the fire without the crystal is just consciousness. It's just that spark which is attached to nothing and has no form, no shape, no concepts, it's just a spark by itself without any identity or any shape or form. So, and in order for these to connect, we need these two elements, water and air, as conditions for these two to meet and to connect and to work together. We need water as a conductor, and we need air as the movement. For all of these things to move in the body, we need the element of air. That's the movement. That's the not the electrical impulse is fire, but the movement of the impulse is what is generated by the breath, by the air element. Main function of which is to keep moving in and out, create the movement, create that movement created by air coming in and out, energize or starts the whole system. It gives movement to everything. Once this movement is gone, the rest of the system is not going to work. If there's no movement, then nothing is moving. So electrical impulses are not moving. So that's the air element is the element of movement in the system where electrical impulse needs to move for us to live. So, and on the physical level, that's air. Or other gases, whatever else is in the body. On the mental level, the element of air represents a thought. That's the fastest moving thing in us. Thought. Because electrical impulse is slower than thought. Energy is slower than thought. Emotion is slower than thought. So out of all the forms of information, thought is the least dense of all. Thought is just a word, like words that I'm talking. These are thoughts and words. That's the lightest of all the structures. It's air. It's nothing. It's just air. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing out words. I'm breathing out just words. I can breathe them out forever. And they are the thinnest of all the structures. The energy that I'm giving is a little bit more dense. The emotion that I'm giving is even more dense. There's more information compressed in one emotion. And in the form of the earth element, the structure itself, or structure of each cell, which has DNA at the core of it, that is the most dense form of information. So we consist of all forms. Like in order to operate, we need information in all forms. Dense, a little bit lighter, 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 and their interaction and cycling in this cycle, like in this cross, the energy is cycling all the time. If you'll be interested in this whole cycle, how it works, what to do with it, we can come back to this subject specifically for like how to work with these energies. But this video is like an introduction to what these arrows represent. And you, I repeat, you, why is it showing? Yeah, you are in the center. You are the center point in this whole structure of elements. That's what you are, that's where you are. When you're fully balanced, you're in that zero spot, that singularity, at the very center of all this whole thing of interaction of all these four. And if you manage to get there to the center, you get access to everything. Memory, information, things, energies, whatever else. That center is the aim. And that's basically the symbology of a cross, how it was supposed to be from the beginning, what cross is. See the center, go there, go for the center, go for the center, stay in the center. And from the center, being able to like stay in the center, staying there stably, and then from the center, keeping the center and expanding to periphery, that's what it means to be a human. Not losing the center, because while we are still losing the center, we are a very dangerous species. We can just generate random things and explode worlds. So that's the whole idea of this balance of elements. I hope I explained well enough, even though I'm pretty tired for today. But if this topic will interest you, we can go on with this stuff, and I can teach you how to do like simple things, how to work with, basically, for example, with water. If you find like you're not sensitive enough, sometimes it's enough to just have a glass of water. And practices with these elements are actually very simple. They're basically earth. Do something with earth. Just go work in the garden and your earth element will balance. Go hug a tree or whatever. Feel the roots. Your element of earth will align in frequency with a healthy tree. And you'll feel like you're also a healthy tree. You'll remember what it feels like to be a healthy tree, because the tree is also a structure and you're a structure. So those kind of basic steps, how to learn to deal with these elements. It's not complicated, actually. It's very simple, and very simple, like village level magic that was forever, always, ever available to even the village healers and so on. So enough for now, because I'm tired. And you ask me questions if you have, and we can come back to this topic again. Salut.